Hi guys, I'm so beyond excited for this video because today we're going to be playing with, as you've seen from the title and the thumbnail of this video, the new release from Blendbunny. Now, when this first was announced, this is a collaboration, and it is Blendbunny's first collaboration, and it is with Ellis. And I did not know who this person was when they announced this, like I said, and I had to look it up, and apparently it is one of the winners of the show Glow Up, if you've seen that one. So this is I think they are a drag queen. Like I said, I don't know much about this person, but I think that this is the perfect person for Blendbunny to collab with on something like this, because this palette, yes, it is enormous. It has so many shades in it. It's very excessive, but literally this is everything that you need in an eyeshadow palette. And I have to tell you, I've had such a good time playing with this. I'm going to show you 5 looks, and the reason why I have not done a video with this before the launch is because I got this palette in the mail 2 days before it launched, and I really wanted to take my time with this and like actually, you know, be able to test it out and give you some looks with it, because I saw other people do videos with this and it seemed a little rushed because, like, you know, they got the palette kind of late too. So I just want to do this collection justice. Now there are other things in here as well. It's not just the palette. So there is a cheek glaze, which I am a little unsure how I feel about, because this is just not my kind of product. So this is a glowy kind of blush highlight hybrid sort of thing. I'm gonna use it on my face today, but I am wanting to put on one of the blushes first. So collection also comes with 2 blush palettes. There's one that is more warm toned, which looks like this. This is beautiful. I'm gonna use this one today as well, so you can see what this one looks like. And then we have the other one, which is the cool tone one. Now the packaging on all of this is absolutely stunning. I really like how thorough and like thought out this collection seems, and I'm just really excited to have this in my collection. Now I know a lot of people are going to be like, Annette, are there, you know, repeat shades in this palette with the other palettes? I mean, of course there's going to be very similar shades in the other palettes from Blendbunny, because they have done so many sort of rainbowy palettes, and there are going to be overlapping shades in those palettes. But if you don't have all the Blendbunny palettes, maybe you don't have the blends palette, I would say this is definitely the one that you want to get. It just depends what you're looking for. Like, if you want to have a palette that has everything in one place, this is a fantastic palette, and I would highly recommend it so far. But if you don't feel like you need it, you probably don't need it. I mean, it's going to be that simple. So I just want to have fun with this. I just want to show you how everything performs, and we're just going to have a good old time and play with some makeup. So I'm going to use this shade on my face today. I have already used this shade, but I just really like it, and I just want to make sure that it's going to go with the eye look that I'm doing today, which I really want to play with a lot of the warm tones. So I technically could do the orange blush, but I don't feel like wearing an orange blush today. That's just kind of the mood that I'm in, and I'm just gonna do this so we can top it with a little bit of the topper, so you can see what that one looks like as well. Like I said, that's not really the kind of product that I would use normally. I don't really go for like glowy blushes. I tend to go for matte blushes and just highlighters and sort of just layering them on top. But I do want to show you like how this one looks on the face. So I'm just going to take the same brush that I used with the blush, and I'm just going to put a little bit of this over the top. So it's not going to really change things too much. Like, it doesn't have a lot of pigment to it. It's more like just a little sparkle, I guess you could call it. So I don't know exactly how much I'll be using this, because I just don't feel like it really does that much. Like, it really just gives a little bit of sparkle as a topper to your blush. Like, maybe if you're darker toned, you could use it as a highlighter. Not really sure. You would have to try it out and report back to me how that went. But I'm excited for the eyeshadow. So we're going to play more with this, and I'm just so excited. Like, so excited. It's crazy to be so excited for a rainbow palette, but honestly, I feel like there hasn't been a lot of rainbow palettes released almost in the past couple of years. Like, I feel like they had their time, and now brands kind of assume that everybody has a rainbow palette, so they don't release rainbow palettes anymore. And I know for myself that the rainbow palettes that I've had in the past are not as good as this one. Like, straight up, like, my blends palette from Blendbunny is like the only rainbow palette that I ever use anymore, and I do feel like there are shades in that palette that I've kind of been missing when I've used it, and this palette doesn't feel like that. So I'm just really happy to have this in my collection. I did get all of the second PR, which, you probably gathered already, and I do have an affiliated code with Blendbunny as well if you want to save some money on any of their products. But I've bought things from Blendbunny myself. I've bought things as gifts for other people from Blendbunny, and I've bought, you know, backups. I had my Noctilucent palette that I had to replace, so I've given them, you know, my money myself because I just genuinely love them as a brand, and I think they're just absolutely amazing. So what I want to do today is, like I said, I want to work mostly with like the warm tones here because I feel like that is the side that I haven't really dipped into. I've used most of the other sort of tones in this palette, and I've had such a good time with this. This row of shimmers in the middle is so transformative and so fun, and I love that they didn't go with darker shimmers and did all light shimmers because they can all be used as toppers and they perform so well. They're so beautiful, so sparkly, and I really could see myself bringing this as like a standalone palette if I were to travel. Now, it's obviously a very, very large palette, but I really feel like this is basically all I need in a palette. Now, obviously, I'm, you know, excessive and I would still probably bring like an old shimmer palette or something like that, but I do think the shimmers in here make it so that I haven't felt the need to pull in anything else when doing looks with this palette, and that is what I'm looking for. In a palette of this size, I need it to be a standalone palette. Like, if it's not a standalone palette and it has shimmers and mattes and it's this big, then there's something missing. So I think I'm just gonna do a pretty simple look, just using sort of this corner here. So I want to do I want to do like more orange or more sort of corally peach? I think I want to go more orange and red. So we're going to start with this shade as the transition shade. And it's so funny, like if I haven't used my Blendbunny palettes in a while, you know, I've been reviewing other brands and just, you know, using other stuff, and then I go back to Blendbunny, it almost feels like, you know, if you leave for a vacation and you're having a great time, but then you get home again, and it's like there's nothing like being home. There's nothing like sleeping in your own bed again. And that's sort of how I feel with like Blendbunny's matte formula. It's like, oh yeah, this is what like amazing, great eyeshadows are like, that are just reliable and exactly what I need and what I want and perform, you know, just wonderfully. That's sort of my, I'm home. That's how I feel when I use Blendbunny, which is like stupid to say, but I just really, really, really enjoy the mattes that I have from Blendbunny. And not to say that other brands don't have great mattes, but there's something just, it feels so reliable. And that is why I like them so much. I never have to question if a color is going to blend into another, if they're going to layer well, if they're going to build, if they're going to wear well. It's just, I put them on the eyes, they do what I want them to do. I leave the house, I come home, they still look great. Like, that is what I want out of my eyeshadows, and I know if I use Blendbunny, I can just, that's what I'm gonna get, and I love that so much. I will say, I wish that this shade was a little bit more like orange, and it still feels a bit more coral, but it also could be because of my eyeshadow primer, which is the Natasha Denona eyeshadow base. It does lean a little bit on the pink side, so that definitely could have something to do with it. If I had used more of a warm tone eyeshadow base or like a neutrally base, or even mixed it with a little bit of the yellow, I think this would have leaned a little bit more like orange like it is in the pan, because you can see I did not use this shade. It looks like I used this shade, but I used this shade, and it definitely looks more like this, right? So I think next one I'm going to do is I'm going to deepen it up with the pure red, because I really want to see if this actually is like a red. So this is the shade called Perception, and it certainly looks like just a red, and I think this is going to be just a red, so that is exactly what I want. I think I am going to deepen this up a little bit afterwards as well with one of the darker shades, because this one is not as dark as I want for today's look. But it is very, very red. I really, really like that. That is a beautiful, beautiful red color. So I don't know if I said in the beginning of the video that I'm doing 5 looks with this. You've probably seen it already, but I feel like I forgot to say that. So I'm of course going to show you the other looks that I've done after I'm done with this one, and just kind of give you a review of this palette. But to be fair, I don't feel like I really need to give you a review, because I just feel like this is a great palette, and if you like the color story and you want the big rainbow palette, I think you should get it. Like, honestly, that's how I feel about this palette. And I don't say that very often, especially, you know, sort of in the middle of my review, because I, you know, want to keep a little bit of suspense. But look, you guys already know what I was gonna say, so I don't feel like any of this is gonna come as a surprise because I've been very vocal about how I feel about the brand, and yeah, I mean, they're just my favorites. So I'm trying to look for one of my smaller brushes. I'm gonna take my Rephr 13 and I'm gonna take the shade called Ecliptic, which is this one, and I just want to get a little bit more depth in the outer corner of my eye. And I don't think I want this look to be like anything revolutionary color-wise. I think I just want to do a very warm tone look here and a pretty basic shape, which, I mean, to be fair, is kind of what I do anyway. Like, do you see there's absolutely no patches or anything like on here? And that is me putting it on top of 2 other shades, which is very, very impressive. Going back into the red shade that I used in my crease, and I'm just gonna run a little bit of that underneath my eye and just get a little shape on the outer corner here. I like using very, very small brushes for this, just so I can be mega precise. I was thinking about doing a video with like an updated eyeshadow brush video, like the only brushes that you ever need to do like amazing eyeshadow looks, and I could probably narrow it down to like 10 or so. If you want to see that, let me know and I can probably start working on that, because I do feel like it would be helpful, because I have definitely updated the brushes that I use from my first video that I did, which is a very, very long time ago, because I really do have my absolute favorites now, and I think that you guys know that. But this is a brush that I loved when I first got it, and then I sort of just forgot that I had it, and it got lost in my collection. And I went to clean my brushes again recently, and I found this, and I've been using it basically every day since. It's the 228 from MAC. It's just this tiny, tiny little, almost fluffy, flat, I don't even know what to call it, but I feel like I can just be so precise with it and still blend, because it's like such a soft brush that this would definitely end up in that list, because it is such a good brush. I'm just gonna work on the mattes a little bit here to make sure that all the blends are the way that I want them to be, and then we'll do probably just 1 or 2 shimmers on the lid, I'm thinking. I'm actually gonna take some of the yellow as well, just because I want to just warm up the front portion a little bit here, and I'm just gonna basically tap that over to make this a little more orange. Yeah, that is more what I was wanting. I just wanted a little more warmth in that shade, just a little more yellow leaning. Just right there. See, this is why I love Blendbunny. Like, I can just layer this over the top and I know it's gonna do what I want it to do. So yeah, that is perfect. That's exactly what I wanted, and I think I'm gonna do probably just 1 shade on my lid. Now, I will say with these shades, because they are kind of transparent, I have been putting down more of a matte base before going in with the shimmers. So I'm gonna take a bit more of this yellow just on the front portion of my lid. This is not gonna be perfect, but I just want to make sure that I'm able to get a blend between mattes and the shimmers. This is probably a little bit too light for what I wanted. I should probably go in with something in between here, just to merge the gap a little bit, to not make the shimmer look so like sheer in the middle. I can't even speak today. I think you know what I'm trying to say. I know it's looking kind of messy right now. Like, don't worry about that. Since we are putting the shimmer on top, it does not need to be perfect at all. So I'm taking some more of that first orange shade that I used and just tapping that right in the middle here. I'm then just going to put some glitter primer basically all over the lid where I have the mattes, and then we'll layer the shimmer over the top of this. And the shimmer that I'm going to use is going to be this one, which is called Transcend. It's like a pinky yellowy shade, and I feel like it's the one that's going to just go better with this look. So I'm just gonna be pretty heavy-handed with this, and like I said, just sort of slap this all over. And you can see there's definitely a lot of pigment and shine to this. I almost wish that there was a shade that was a bit more just like red, if that makes sense. But this is definitely doing what I wanted to do, and I think that is so pretty. Like, so, so pretty. And you could absolutely use these shades more sheerly if you wanted just a very sheer, like tapped on layer of color. Just use your finger and tap very gently. Or like me, if you want a little more opacity, use a glitter primer and go in with a lot of product. It really just depends. And these shades are so beautiful. Like on days where I just want to do really, really quick makeup, these are the kind of shades that I would just put all over my lid, put on some lashes and mascara, and be out the door, because they're just so, so pretty. So I think this is all I'm gonna do. I think I'm just gonna finish off with some, like I said, liner and lashes and all that stuff. And I'll be back to show you the final look. But oh, this is so pretty. I'm gonna just wrap this a bit underneath my eye as well, because I forgot to do that. So just a little on the lower lash line as well. And then I'm just gonna finish off and I'll show you the other looks that I've done with this palette as well. I put some yellow in my waterline as well, just to finish it off. This one is from About Face and it's in the shade Eternal Sunshine. My lashes are from Unicorn Cosmetics. I don't remember which ones they are because they've been out of the package now for probably a month. But I really like this look and I really like this palette so far. I love this collection. I think that this is going to be something that I will have in my collection for probably until it goes bad. Honestly, I even really like the blush palettes. I think that these shades are a little bit more wearable to me, at least these two, than some of the other shades in the other Blendbunny palettes. I've been pretty open about the fact that the other colors in those palettes just didn't really work for me, but I feel like these are definitely more the kind of colors that I go for when it comes to my blushes. So I'm really excited to have both of these in my collection. I feel like this is more suitable for people with like very light skin as well, whereas the other blush palettes were very pigmented and a little bit on the darker side. So I think these are going to be really, really nice, and I like that I can kind of mix and match in between the two as well, and I like the tones in them, and I really like the eyeshadow palette, and I just like all of it. So yeah, I'm just really, really excited to have these. I'm going to show you the other looks that I've done as well so you can see those. I also just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a life update while I show you the looks, because I know I've been kind of vague about things in the past, you know, couple of, I guess, just the last month, but I feel like I'm ready to talk about it now, and I don't want to make this into a separate video and clickbaiting it and yada yada like a lot of people would. But basically, my husband and I of 10 years are probably getting a divorce, and I've been living by myself now for the past month or so, and it's just been a lot to process and a lot to like mentally deal with, and I'm still not in a great place with everything. So if my posting is a little bit sparse and, you know, I'm just not as active on social media, you know, in the next foreseeable future, now you know why. I don't want to get into details. It's going to be a very amicable divorce if we do end up going that route, but we're just having a little bit of a, you know, separation trial right now just to see what's going to happen, but most likely in the end that's where things are going to end up going. So just wanted to sort of let you know, because I know a lot of you have reached out and been worried and, you know, asked if I'm doing okay, and I really appreciate that. So thank you to all of you who have, but just wanted to let you know what's up. I'd prefer not to get any questions about it. I don't really want to discuss this online. I don't want to share personal details about my life online, but I feel like it's also fair to you who are so supportive to me to let you in on what's going on, at least a little bit of the information. So now you know, and just know I'm doing somewhat okay. I'm trying to work through things. There's just been a lot, and on top of like all this, there's been a lot of health issues that I've had to deal with as well, which isn't great. So it's just a bit of an overwhelming time, but I'll get through it. It'll be okay in the end. Things are just gonna take time. So yeah, as for the looks, I'm just really, really happy about all of them. I think they all turn out so good, and you can probably tell, you know, in the footage too, just how good of a time I had playing with this palette. And honestly, makeup is one of those things that even if I don't film it, I love just sitting down and doing my makeup and listening to music. It's one of those things that actually gets my mind off of things, and it's been like therapy in itself, honestly, and it's one of the things that's made me able to go through harder things a little bit easier, because I just feel so good when I'm, you know, in that mindset of just playing with color, being creative, and doing something that I genuinely enjoy doing. And I find myself not always wanting to film that process, especially if I'm not feeling that well. I need that time for myself to just be with myself and my thoughts. And yeah, so if I'm, like I said, a little absent online, I will try to get videos up with, you know, all of the new releases when I do get them. But to be fair, I've been kicked off a lot of PR lists in the past year, and I don't know why, because I've always been very on top of things, but now there are brands that I used to get PR from all the time that I just don't anymore, and I'm not really sure why, but you know, that's the brand's decisions, I guess, and I have to respect that, but it's a little sad, not gonna lie. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you plan on picking up this palette. Let me know if you already picked up this palette, because this palette is available as we speak, and I'm sure a lot of you have gotten it already, but if you haven't, here's your sign. This is amazing. If it's not for you, it's not for you, but if you think you're gonna like it, you're definitely going to love it. So if you wanna see some more Blendbunny content, I do have a playlist. I'll put that up on the screen, and if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.